up. So I was watching this trend and was able to get filled right on this important fair value gap area into my critical resistance area here as well. Okay, so just off of this trade, I was able to lock in 41.62. So it's about 8:45 in the morning right now. Market opens at 9:30, which is where all the movement is going to start. So what I'm doing as a day trader now is trying to figure out generally which direction I think the market is going to move. So it's my job to basically do analysis to figure out where I should be entering in on the market so I can get in, get out, and hopefully end up with profit. So that's what I'm doing during the day when I'm trading. And I have some other cool things that I have lined up for the day. So I'm going to be taking you throughout my day and show you basically what it looks like in the day of the life of a day trader. Okay, so what I'm doing at this point in the day is I'm going to have a coffee, read some of the news for the day. It's going to help me make my decisions. Then I'm going to show you exactly how I set my desk up to actually do this. I'll explain what I think is going to happen during the day. Then we're going to get into finding some trades, and I'm going to show you how I do that as well. All right, so this is sort of how I set up my trading desk. You can see right here, this is trading view. This is where I'm going to be doing all of my analysis and finding my trades. Right here on the right, I have my trade journals. Up here, I have my exchange where I'm actually going to be entering and taking the orders here. And then over on this monitor, this is where I'm going to be doing something called a daily bias, where I'm figuring out which direction I think the market's going to move in. And I can sort of generally keep an eye on what's happening in the market over on this side. Okay, so it is about 9:30 right now. I do have an idea of a trade I want to take, but I want to show you some analysis on the day first that's leading me to think this is a good idea. And then we're going to get into hopefully finding the... So like I said, I'm trying to figure out which direction I think the market is going to move overall for the session. That way I can play into those sort of ideas. So what I've done here is pulled up a chart of Bitcoin. I'm trading cryptocurrency today. Bitcoin kind of guides me in the general right direction of the overall crypto market. And so what I'm going to do is go out to a 4-hour time frame, which basically means that these individual candlesticks here are showing me 4 hours worth of total price movement on Bitcoin. And what I'm going to use is a strategy called Elliott wave theory, which is basically when I study the wave formation of trends and try to figure out where we could be in a trend, and also some other general technical analysis. And when I'm doing technical analysis, I'm basically drawing different things on a chart to try to find indications of potential directional changes. That's going to eventually help me make money. What I'm seeing here is we have this overall trend, and I'm trying to count to see if we have a 5-wave development, and that's what Elliott wave is. So I'm kind of looking to see potentially we have a 5-wave setup, and I'm seeing that we have our first wave down to here, but we're potentially going to see something like this, because one of the biggest rules that I follow with Elliott wave theory is measuring this sort of first move and then being able to take these what are called Fibonacci multiples off of this initial move. So we have 161.8 and 261.8. Typically, the top of 5th wave, I've noticed especially with cryptocurrency, is going to go down to one of these levels. And we know that 161.8, if this is our first push, definitely not the end of the trend, which leads me to believe that we could potentially have to see a little bit lower down to this area. But sort of in the opposite direction of that theory, you can see we have this trend level that was just broken, retested, and now we're continuing to make a move higher. So this area that was broken up before, bounced off of, broke under, resistance is retesting now. If this breaks above it, it's going to be very, very bullish on the day, meaning that I think the general trajectory is going to go up. But if we react negatively off of this area and continue to break down underneath this level, we could play all the way down into this key zone here, which is going to open up opportunities on other pairs like Solana, Ethereum, stuff like that. So generally, I'm watching this area. I don't have a confirmed bias, but we could be looking at lower to retest this trend down to the 105 area for Bitcoin. Okay, so if we move over to our second monitor here, you can see I have Solana this time pulled up. I can do similar analysis on different pairs, sort of following the general trajectory of Bitcoin. So you can see right here, once again, we have a counter trend in this direction, price pushing up in this one. Once again, I'm counting that 5-wave pattern again to get a general idea of where I'm at on the trend. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm going to be right, but this is leading me into high probable areas to enter trades. I'm actually in a trade right now, so I'll explain why I got into this trade here in just a second. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll see this time measuring from this point, our 261.8 value is the exact value that this trend sort of topped out on before getting a rejection back down. So if I go down to a 3-minute time frame now, you can see the price actually pushed underneath this level here and formed this red block here, which is called a fair value gap. So I'm going to be targeting these fair value gaps here, especially when my custom indicator, which is this diamond indicator right here, is indicating all my different criteria that I'm following that I can't necessarily just share completely for free on YouTube, is telling me that the market could potentially flip. Now, the thing with day trading is on a technical basis, this could definitely drop. On my daily chart, we could get resistance off of this area, and then then price could fall from here. Or this could get extra momentum, break through this level, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to trade in the positive direction. I don't have a super clear indication of what I think is going to happen for the day. You're not always going to get a clear bias. The big goal, if this moves up against me, I have my risk contained up to this area, so I'm going to get out of the market with a calculated contained loss. But if this wants to continue to move down into these areas, I can basically just follow that trend movement all the way down, and you'll see I'm estimated to make 6.7x what I'm risking on the trade, which if I'm right about this area means that I could effectively win one trade, lose 5 trades in a row and be wrong, and still break even on the day. So if I have any edge whatsoever and I can sort of start to anticipate these areas, this is basically how day traders end up making money. Looks like price is moving against us, but what I'm looking for now is a break underneath this level, hoping that price is able to flip and continue moving down. But once again, if this wants to push up against me, I'm going to get out, mark down my loss, and then try to find the next opportunity on the day. That's just how day trading works. Okay, it's going to be volatile, you're going to have losses, but overall, if I'm doing this correctly, risking $1,000, I should be able to make $5,000-$7,000 on a good trading day. So we're going to see now how I can do, and I'll sort of explain to you generally how I'm finding these ideas and sort of share how I do this along the way. Yeah, we have a gym session with Jesse in a few hours here, and then we're actually taking a helicopter to go to dinner. So I got a busy day. I'm going to be working while I'm trading, but now let's see if we can make some money. Okay, so we're starting to get a bit of a move in our direction. You can see we had sort of this blow off area where we tested this fair value gap, but we held the center point of it, targeting the center points there. Okay, so the fact that we did get an area of response here, now what I'm doing is waiting for a break underneath this level. And once we get to this blue line, I'm going to be taking half the position off. I'm going to be basically locking in all of what I was risking on the trade and then letting the rest sort of run. Hopefully, you can see we're not really quite breaking underneath this level and we're starting to get momentum. So it wouldn't surprise me for this to come up and then also end up moving through our stop loss. That's just kind of how trading works. You have to sort of let the trade breathe, let the possibility of risk be open to you in order to be able to play that reward, but always keep contained and calculated. So it looks like we could get a little bit of a move up now if this doesn't break quickly, but if it does, we'll take some profit off, like I said, and then we'll let the rest run and see if we're right about our session thesis. Okay, so it's nice to see that we're starting to get a little bit of movement in our direction, but we're by no means out of the woods, especially because it's still 9 o'clock, so anything can happen sort of in the market. What we really needed was a break underneath this level here. So if we do get sort of a reversal here, we're definitely not in the clear. But if we do break underneath it, it's a bit more. Okay, you can also see that we do have this sort of area right here where we dipped into the middle of it, and now we're consolidating here, potentially starting to flip. So that could mean that we could get a continuation of a move higher as well. One of the big rules of day trading is you always want to be eliminating risk as well. So what I'm doing now is basically dropping my stop loss down so that if price comes up and retests this area here, I'm going to get out for basically a break-even trade. Okay, and the reason for that is probably because of what you're going to see in a second here. But when you have a trend, as soon as the trend does this, comes up, now you have this low basically to break and have a candle close below in order to confirm that you have a lower low, a lower high, lower low, lower high, and then a continuation move underneath that level. So the fact that this broke underneath this level, we didn't quite get a close here. I'm probably going to get stopped out here for break even, but I really wanted to see a lot of sort of force to the downside here. And we're getting a lot of bullish price action off of this level. So I don't want to be just sitting through this again. I was trying to play into some momentum. So now we'll see if this can hold or if we're going to get stopped out. All right, so off the back of the previous trade, price did end up coming back up to our stop loss level. Stopped us out for break even. After fees, I lost about $211 on a break even trade. But I sort of missed the move up, so I was watching this trend, waiting for a breakdown in price, and was able to get filled right on this important fair value gap area into my critical resistance area here as well. We just broke underneath this critical low level. We're up about $1,600. So I'm going to be managing this trade. I'm hoping we get a nice push in our direction and we're able to make a nice trade out of this. We're up about $2,200 now, so hopefully this trade works out. We're going to reduce risk and see what happens. Okay, so we got a really good response here and push underneath this level. Normally I'd be taking some size off here and reducing risk, but this could be a big trade if we do get a little bit of momentum, so I want to let it breathe a bit. I've counted out my wave counts here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5. And you can see off of our one wave here, we got 5 to come up into our 261.8 area. So once we broke underneath this level, now what I want to do is anticipate what's called an ABC wave. So I'm looking over here, we got some support and resistance off of this area. I'm sort of waiting for price to come down and be able to touch this area area at least get us a 1 to 4. What I'm going to do here is reduce my risk down to break even again, even though it's going to suck if it comes back up. So once again, a risk-free trade now, and we're going to see if we can get a further push down and sort of leverage this move to the downside. If this works out really, really nicely, this could be a big runner for us. So let's see. All right, so we're getting a nice move down, but this area is going to be a big area for support. I'm going to go ahead and lock in 1300 here and leave half the position open in case this doesn't want to break this level fully. Now we have a full risk factor off the table. If this wants to reverse all the way back up, we made $1,000, but if this continues to move down, we can sort of be patient and trail this on the way down. So now we have a risk-free trade. We locked in some profit. Let's see how low this can go. In the meantime, I'm going to eat some lunch. Okay, so nice move in our direction. We came down to, you'll see this 61.8 area if we look at the retracement of this overall trend here. So that's why I was sort of targeting this area. I didn't take the trade off at my take profit level just because I want to be a little bit more patient with this and see if we can roll off the rest of the amount. So I'm going to walk us in a little bit on profit and see if we can get this to continue to move down lower. If this wants to continue up for the rest of the day, then we'll start taking some longs after. But I'm going to see if I can get a nice sized win on this trade while I'm eating lunch. If we can break this low, I feel confident to put my stop loss here and sort of get a nice push. I'm going to take the profit up. We're up about 4,000 now on the trade. I'm hoping this level breaks now. It's testing this one. This is a big one. So if it dumps it, it's going to dump it hard. Yeah, I want to play this candle and then be out. So hopefully we get a push. So now I'm locking in at least 1 to 4.6, but I want to target this area now. And I took the trade off the table here. We might continue moving lower from here, but this is a really, really nice trade to be able to lock in early in the session. That's going to allow me to be a little bit more risk on throughout the day. So I don't want this to sort of chop around and then end up sitting in this all day. So I'm out of the trade. So off of this trade, I was able to lock in 41.62 in total. We're starting to get a little bit of momentum here off of this level. So like I said, I'm not sitting around for that. But being able to lock in over 4,000 early in the day at about lunchtime is a good start to the session. Sort of lines up perfectly for me to be able to go to the gym in the middle of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and journal this trade in. See if I can find another trade before I go to the gym or while I'm at the gym. But for now, up around 4,000 on the day. All right, I'm setting up for my workout here in a second. I found a trade opportunity on Solana. I'm going to let this run. I have everything set up properly. I'm waiting for this sort of area to come in contact quite a bit. It shot up into it, and you can see never actually closed outside of it and got a nice response off of it. So I'm in short here up about 1,700. If we can get a quick flip, I'm just going to go ahead and lock in another risk factor. See if we can get a push down. I'm going to reduce risk underneath this low. So now I'm waiting. Candle close underneath this low to reduce my risk on the trade. So that's going to confirm that there's a new downtrend if we can close below this swing, and that will allow me to reduce my risk to break even. See if we can break this trend level firmly. Looks like we're starting to. Nice push. We're up 4,000 now. Move my risk to our entry. So if we were down on the day, I'd probably take off another risk factor and lock in profit, but I'm going to give it a little bit more time to breathe before I start doing that. Now what I'm looking for is to see some resistance off the underneath side of this trend, which I'm sure it will come up and retest. So we should get a pull up, a rejection off of here, and then a continuation drop. If we can see that, I'm going to start taking some profit off and trim some risk factors off. All right, there we go. We got it. So we got that test off of that level like we anticipated. Now we're getting a drop further. At this level, I'm going to trim off half the position here because I think it could come down and get support along these lows. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it out and lock in 4,000. Oh, I locked in a little bit more than half. I didn't realize I had 4,000 units. I thought I had 5,000. Okay, yeah, so I took a little bit more profit than I had hoped. And now I'm going to bring my stop loss down right over this high here for the remainder of my position here. And I'm just going to let this one run. So we got to have a good fill off of the first here. Looks like we're moving down nicely. Let's see if we break this low or if we get a response off of it. Looks like we're getting a little bit of support. Okay, looks like we're gonna get stopped out here at this area. Once again, locked in 4,000 already, so we're just seeing if the rest can run or not. All right, so I was able to lock in 45.13 on that trade, which puts me up 84.65 on the day with a 66% win rate. So this is definitely higher win rate than I'm used to on a normal day for sure. Usually about 37 to 40% win rate. It's obviously nice when trades are happening back to back. So I'm going to hang out here, get some work done, see if I can find another trade here and make sure that these are journaled in. But we're doing really, really well today, and we can see if we got a few more in us. Hitting a workout with Jesse here. Say what's up, Eric. Let's go. We're going to hit some fucking PRs.
Her body like the Wild Wild West. What if you done found out, yeah? Riding in a big God bless. She's all inferno. It's a hell of a time. Burning like a candlelight. Your love is dangerous. Your love is my love is our love is. Burning like a candlelight. Your love is dangerous. Your love. Are you not entertained? Our love is.
All right, so arriving back from dinner, market sort of got a little bit choppy. There was a few setups in here that if I was just glued to the desk, I probably could have been able to take. We ended up trending down for the rest of the session. Weirdly enough, today I took the fewest amount of trades that I've taken in a very long time, but I was really aiming so specific and making sure that I was prioritizing quality setups and reducing risk. And I think having a win early out of the gate sort of gave me a little bit of confidence to kind of go for things and maybe be a little bit more cocky, which kind of gave me confidence to be able to take some aggressive trades. So I'm going to show you as a day trader how my day sort of settled out, and we'll run some numbers behind this. So first trade I took in here right after 9:30, we had a big push down, found this area, this fair value gap area into here. We got short. It was our perfect response level that we were predicting off of this area. Got a push down, was able to reduce risk down to 0, and then price ended up just chopping up, which is totally okay, back into our entry, and that's totally fine. Okay, as a day trader, we don't care about that. We care about putting ourselves in good positions and reducing risk, letting the winners run. That's really it. So the fact that it stopped me out for break even, I ended up losing $211 on that trade. So that's trade number 1. Okay, trade number 2 is where I started to go for a bit more advanced of an approach. You can see it definitely paid off because I was able to snipe this exact area. I was meticulous. I aimed for the exact entry that I was going for. I waited for it to develop. I set the order up in real time, executed, and it ended up paying off. So we got our entry beautifully at this area. I got short in here and then sort of just traded this all the way down. Once I saw a response off of this key area that I was targeting and saw this trend starting to break the trade off, and all said and done, we were able to lock in 4,162, which put us up about $3,900. And this happened basically by lunchtime. Okay, so anytime I can be up where I'm up a comfortable amount during the afternoon, this is putting me in a good spot. Then from there, I sort of let the market develop. Once I saw that this double top level failed and finally broke down on this trend, created my key for a change of character. I set an order up to see if price would pull back up into this area before capitulating down, which is exactly what happened. Once again, targeting that exact point, getting the confirmation, and then playing the roll off. So price immediately moved back down. I was being a little bit more aggressive because I knew I had the risk factors in my account. So basically, if I'm up on the day and I want to really try to either go for it or have sort of a mediocre day, I'm okay to do that depending on where I'm at, right? If I need to just be consistent and continue on with my process, I can do that. If I'm on a losing streak or I just want to make sure that I'm being consistent, but coming off the back of a big win last week and then having a great start to my session, I knew I could lose effectively 3 or 4 trades and still go back down to break even. So I went a little bit risk on and it paid off. I was able to take off basically 70% of the position down at this exact point before we got our reversal. All right, and then took the rest off here, which is sad to say that price ended up coming back down and making a new low. Still, nonetheless, was able to lock in $4,500 between the 2 exits on the position, giving me a total positive risk factor of 8.4, risking $1,000. Which totaled me for the day at $8,465. Okay, this is definitely a good day for me. It's not the biggest day, it's not the smallest day. What I'm aiming for is to be able to either go down $3,000 on the day, call it quits, and move on to the next day. Have a smaller day where I'm a little bit above break even or not. And then on the days where I have the momentum and I have the success to really let those sort of carry out. And you can see by finding these key areas, running the data behind it, and knowing exactly how to do this. Obviously, I've been doing this for years, so I'm able to scale up my risk to be able to risk $1,000 on trades and have the conviction that it will work out. This process can be done with $25, $100, whatever. If you're risking $100 on each trade, this would be $846 in profit on the day. Even risking $50 on each trade would be about $400 per day. And to me, that's the beautiful part about day trading. I'm going to continue to dedicate my life to this. I can continue to scale this up, work on developments with the team, and constantly try to be progressing the ways to approach the market, basically opening myself up for a ton of freedom. I was able to go out today, go to the gym, basically be able to have an epic day while also making $8,400. And that's really what it's all about. That's what got me inspired in the first place. And I hope at the very least this video was entertaining and aspiring to that point. Make sure you hit the like button on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think about the sort of vlog style video. If you want to check out other videos of me live trading, I'll put some here. If you want to check out our private trading team and education, I'll also put the link right here and in the description. But until next time, I'll see you all in the next video.